Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Canal Algérie's nightly news. On to the headlines. In its latest editorial, Al-Jaish magazine reaffirms that the People's National Army stands as the nation's steadfast guardian amid regional and global challenges. The International Tourism and Travel Fair continues, shining light on Algeria's natural and cultural treasures. Algeria, Tanzania, new prospects for fruitful partnerships in energy cooperation. In France, figures and facts indicate a severe economic crisis in the horizon and a decline in purchasing power, exposing the failing policies in the Fifth Republic. Welcome back. First off, in its July editorial, Al-Jaish magazine looks back on the exploits of our valiant martyrs as we commemorate the 63rd anniversary of independence, the occasion to renew the oath of loyalty to them and to the principles for which they fought. The editorial insists on the importance of continuing to move forward towards reaching national objectives and the achievement that our country has already undertaken. Rania Al-Bahri.
In its editorial entitled On the Path of Loyalty, Al-Jaish magazine revisits the exploits of our valiant martyrs as we commemorate the 63rd anniversary of independence. This is an opportunity to remember the exploits of these Algerian heroes who made the greatest sacrifices for the glory of their homeland. It's also an opportunity to renew our oath to loyalty to them. A loyalty that involves preserving the ideal for which they fought for their country by following the path they laid out, the values of self-sacrifice, loyalty and devotion to their homeland by defending its supreme interests in all circumstances. The editorial emphasizes that in recent years, Algeria has experienced unprecedented gains and achievements in various fields and at all levels. This is a confident and determined Algeria that has regained its prestige and deserved place in the community of nations thanks to its loyal men, its strong institutions, its proud people, and its ambitious youth, who are the subject of the greatest interest of the country's highest authorities. This is a good sign for a prosperous future for our country in order to continue on the path of victories, as President Abdelmajid Tebboune recalled in his message on the occasion of the 63rd anniversary of independence and the recovery of national sovereignty. Part of this dynamic is the National People's Army, which has just been strengthened by new promotions of competent, militarily and scientifically qualified officers and imbued with noble qualities. National principles and ideals continue with determination and firmness to be in tune with the Renaissance project undertaken by our country. The National People's Army shows clearly what it is today, is the proactive shield of the nation and the sharp sword that defends it from any danger. It's ready to stop anyone who tries to harm the security or stability of Algeria. The army is fully aware of its important role and it follows the guidance of a wise and experienced leadership. It's also aware of the serious security threats that exist both in the region and around the world. This is what General Said Chengriha, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense and Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, clearly said in his message. Al-Jaish editorial concludes with a tribute to the martyrs, war veterans, and all those who continue to ensure the preservation of Algeria's security and stability so that it may forever remain sovereign, strong and prosperous.
In other news, the Secretary of State in charge of the national community abroad, Sofiane Shaib, took part alongside the head of mission of the International Organization for Migration in Algeria in the proceedings of the high-level workshop on the participation of the national community abroad to the efforts of the development of the country. This meeting of 2 days will allow officials and experts from the international organization to focus on the coordination and strengthening of cooperation between the IOM and the Secretariat of State for the National Community Abroad. It aims to exchange best practices and share expertise with a view to supporting and strengthening the participation of the national community in the country's development process. And here's what the Secretary of State shared with us.
This meeting was an opportunity to review the major progress achieved by our country in this field, which was praised and appreciated to the extent that the efforts made by the state were cited as examples and experiences to follow at the international level. In this regard, I would like to commend the special attention that the President of the Republic gives to the involvement of the national community in the national development process, as it is an integral part of the Algerian society, as stipulated by the Constitution. This is a major priority in the government's action program, which the Secretary of State in charge of the national community abroad is working to implement through a series of workshops already launched with the aim of achieving the desired goals. I would like to commend Algeria's efforts in this regard as part of its national strategy aimed at mobilizing talents abroad. Algeria has launched several notable initiatives, including the Register of the Algerian Competences Abroad and the World Council of the Algerian Diaspora, as well as the academic and entrepreneurial partnerships. By facilitating the transfer of expertise and encouraging investment, these efforts reflect a clear political will to leverage the transnational human capital in the support of the national development.
The 24th edition of the International Tourism Fair CITEP offers a key opportunity to strengthen partnership, exchange expertise, and promote Algeria as a leading travel destination. Najah Tayyar and Riyad Belkhadim with the details.
Held under the theme Travel to the Heart of Algeria and Experience Authentic Tourism and an Ancient Civilization. The 24th edition of the International Tourism and Travel Fair is currently underway in Algiers, bringing together 200 exhibitors, including 38 startups and representatives from 27 countries. This year's edition highlights the revival of Saharan tourism, with southern provinces such as Tamanrasset, Elysée, Janet, Adrar, Beni Abbas, N'ama and Tindouf emerging as favored destinations. According to the Algerian National Tourist Office, Algeria remains the leading choice for domestic holiday makers, whether in winter or summer.
In
2025, the Algerian tourist is still looking for a new experience, and we are here to continuously provide that novelty. To make things easier, we have developed a new application to help them discover the range of tourism products we offer. Through this platform, the users can also access various excursions we offer, whether it's thermal tourism, Saharan tourism, or of course summer tourism during the season. Drawn to its exceptional and diverse landscapes, many local and international tourists are exploring Algeria's Great South. Even travelers from countries with strong tourism traditions, like Croatia, are choosing its magical southern regions as a preferred destination. Algeria was the guest of honor in Croatia in both 2023 and 2024. At that time, it was even nicknamed the place to go. Thanks to this initiative, we were able to bring together many tourism agencies and sign agreements with the Algerian agencies present at the Algerian National Tourism Office stand. As I previously mentioned, this initiative has now led to Croatian tourists visiting southern Algeria. In Croatia, we have the sea, we have the mountains, but what we lack is the desert. And for that, we can count on a friendly country like Algeria, which has long maintained excellent relations with Croatia.
Pays ami comme l'Algérie qui depuis longtemps il a des excellentes relations avec la Croatie.
A visit to the 2025 edition of the International Tourism and Travel Fair may reveal destinations that align with every kind of traveler, from those seeking their dream escape to others prioritizing affordability. A stroll through the fair could uncover both inspiration and practical options.
In the parliamentary activity, the Minister of Justice, Keeper of the Seals, Lotfi Boujama, presented before the National People's Assembly's members a bill on the prevention and fight against money laundering and the financing of terrorism, where the Minister indicated that the fight against this type of crime requires the continuous adaptation of the relevant legal framework to align it with international standards, in particular the 4 recommended actions of the Financial Action Task Force. As for the Minister of Domestic Trade and National Market Regulation, Tayyip Zitouni, he indicated that the National Register of Beneficial Owners of Companies represents a strategic mechanism for combating money laundering and terrorist financing, reflecting Algeria's commitment to international standards and the transparency of its legal and financial system. This came during the Information Day on the National Register for Beneficial Owners as a bulwark against money laundering and the financing of terrorism. In energy cooperation, and in order to reinforce the presence of Sonalgas on the African market, Morad Ajel received on Sunday an important delegation of the officials of the sector of energy of the United Republic of Tanzania for rural energy, Jacob Gideo. Both parties discussed the means and ways to give a new momentum to the cooperation between Sonalgas and Tanzanian energy operators. Ajel reaffirmed the commitment of Sonalgas to concretize the partnership through welcoming a group of trainees from Tanzania in Sonalgas schools, as well as assisting the Tanzanian team in charge of achieving a training center in Tanzania. International news now. In France, poverty and unemployment have reached their highest levels in 30 years. And the experts blame failed economic and social policies. Najah Tayyar has more details.
As the far-right voices continue to stir hatred and fabricate imaginary enemies, France is facing a deepening internal crisis. A severe social emergency is suffocating millions of families across the country. And according to the latest 2025 report by the French National Institute of Statistics, poverty has surged to its worst level since 1996. More than 15% of the population, about 10 million people, are now living below the poverty line, with 65,000 newly impoverished individuals added in just 1 year. Today, what we're being told about the upcoming budget is that the government wants to add 40 billion euros in public spending cuts. This approach is not only recessionary for the economy, but also deeply unequal. The latest figures from the INSEE have just been released, showing a widening gap between the richest 20% and the poorest 20%. There are 65,000 more people living in poverty in France, bringing the poverty rate to 15.4%. And yet, it's precisely these people who are being asked to bear the burden of this effort. Many in France, including politicians and citizens, believe the current situation stems directly from the far-right policies. These policies, they argue, prioritize tax breaks while cutting investment in essential services like healthcare, education and public infrastructure, all while making jobs more precarious. For years, the state suddenly stopped increasing contributions. In fact, it actually reduced them, while drastically increasing exemptions without reimbursing Social Security. And all the furlough payments during the COVID period were once again charged to the Social Security. This is a policy move that favors the market and capitalism at the expense of the common good. The latest figures lay bare the failure of the right-wing policies to tackle poverty at its roots. Instead of real solutions, the system has relied on fear-based rhetoric and the invention of false enemies to distract from its inability to guarantee even the most basic rights to its people. Now, with looming tax hikes and shrinking social security coverage, over 15 million French citizens could be stripped of their access to essential protections.
In Morocco, the protest march of the inhabitants of the marginalized regions continues. It is an uprising for dignity and social justice to put an end to the development gap as a result of the policies practiced by the Makhzen regime against the inhabitants of Moroccan villages. Updates on the situation with Anil Bahri.
The peaceful marches of the people of Bouquemaz, along with nearly 1,000 other villages, had stronger impact than any other speech. Protesters walked hundreds of kilometers on foot, carrying with them the pain of decades of neglect and marginalization.
الحقيقة عمرها 10 سنوات.
The truth is over 10 years old. Ask anyone from Azilal region why they are being left out of development, and they will say, because we want the right to choose, but every time those in power clashed with them. Life in poor rural areas is very difficult. Women travel long distances for basic health care, and children walk miles just to reach a school if one exists. Villagers also struggle daily to find clean water, living in harsh conditions without support or attention from the state. The situation reveals the failure of the Marsan system, which ignores these communities and treats them as unimportant and forgotten.
مركز صحي هذه 7 سنين اللي تبنى.
This health center was built 7 years ago, but it's still closed, slowly falling into ruin and destruction. Even the staff housing is broken down. All over Morocco, people are unhappy. In cities, they protest high prices and unfair rules. In villages, people live in poverty and are forgotten. Places like Boukamaz show this pain clearly. Many feel the system doesn't care about them.
The Central Service for Combating Illicit Drug Trafficking conducted two consecutive operations carried out last weekend in the provinces of Mascara and Blida, during which they arrested 2 individuals and seized a quantity of cannabis. The operations were carried out by members of the Central Service in the city of Bouhnifa in Mascara, where the first suspect was arrested in a tourist vehicle and 43 kilograms of processed cannabis were seized. The first operation involved 700 grams of processed cannabis. The second operation involved the arrest of another tourist vehicle and its producers on the Boufarik Highway towards Algiers with a seizure of 60.7 kilograms. With that, we end tonight's bulletin. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care.